Hello and welcome to the collapse experiment. So how did I stop stressing and worrying about the world and reclaim my life? Now, if you're like me, 2020 was a very eye-opening experience. And 2020 was not just in 2020, it went on to 2021 and 2022 and well, let's just say things are finally changing around. For me, things finally started to change in my life the last election, because 2020 was a rolling snowball where the Democrats took a dump on top of a mountain and it just continued to roll down. But this was not a snowball, no, this was just a ball of poo. And it continued on, and it just kept on rolling. It wasn't until Biden was finally out of office and we did not elect a side hoe, thank God. But it was that moment where I finally just and it wasn't even about who was elected. It was the fact that these people were no longer in power. The ones that had just been destroying absolutely everything. And I came to the realization that, okay, I'm pretty sure nuclear war has been diverted. I'm pretty sure we no longer have to worry about toilet paper being on the shelves or how many canned goods we can buy at Aldi. That was always fun. Now, when 2020 happened, I mentally went into, oh, it's happening gear. What is it? Oh, the downfall of society, the collapse, what Rome looked like in the end. Is there going to be a rumor that there's a United States? Are we still a United States? Is there like a West Coast of the United Communist States? I seriously thought for a while, and things were getting so bad between the lockdowns, between shortages, constant shortages of just the weirdest, most obscure damn thing possible, right? Remember the chip shortage? Everybody's freaking out about chips and everybody's cars got super expensive. So, one thing I did, I stopped watching the news. I'm not talking about CNN or Fox News or any of that stuff. No. Well, for one big change was I stopped watching Timcast IRL. Yeah, I used to watch Timcast. I started watching Timcast before 2020 when was it Ian? Who was the original guy? I'm sure you guys can help me out. There's the original dude that spun the UFO. That was when I started watching it. It was where I could actually find out like what the hell the news stories were, other than what the mainstream media wanted me to think were the news stories. And then there was all the Me Too stuff that was going on. That was really big. And then all of a sudden it's like rumblings out of China. Something's coming our way. Another thing that didn't help was the fact that, my wife gave birth to our second child February of 2020. So that thing that I probably shouldn't talk about on here was not officially here yet. But I will point out our public schools in Michigan closed for, I think, like 2 weeks at a time because the flu. The flu was really bad that winter. Gee, I don't remember any kind of virus coming out afterwards that had almost the exact same symptoms as the flu. Yeah, the flu was so bad that public schools closed for like a week or two. We're not talking about the Christmas break. I got stocked up. I was going to Aldi and filling my cart with canned goods before there was a limit as to how much you could buy. I was hunting down powdered, dehydrated milk. I was doing all the things, making sure that when this thing happened, and it did, keep in mind, it did happen, but it wasn't necessarily the thing that got bad. It was the response from certain people in charge that was bad. That was absolutely horrible. And I'm still angry to this day about some of the horribly stupid stuff that they did in 2020. Some people still need to be punched in the face, if you know what I mean. But no, for four years, it was nonstop stress and anguish. What the hell's gonna happen next? I remember the end of 2024. This was a biggie for me. Was this whole Ukraine debacle, right? So apparently we're getting involved in Ukraine. Why? Still haven't really gotten a good excuse as to why we were even doing stuff over in Ukraine. It's about freedom and democracy in a country that stopped their elections from happening. Sounds very democratic. But to get back on point, there's an awful lot of talk about they're moving over the minute and second hand on the nuclear clock, the doomsday clock. We're closer to midnight than we've ever been because of Ukraine and Russia and the United States. Me, I'm outside, I hear a plane flying over. I'm like, is that the doomsday plane? I'm listening to channels on YouTube where they're like, got an ultimate high alert. Got 2 doomsday planes in the air, which is really rare, but I've said that exact same phrase for the last 6 months, at least 3 times a week, but it's super rare. Wonder how many of you know what channel I'm referring to. But I was listening to that guy, getting more tips on how to survive during a nuclear incident, if you will. Trying to put the finishing touches on my root cellar, which just happens to be made out of concrete and steel beams and rebar, field stones, really, really thick walls of field stones. Kind of place you'd want to sit on and wait out like a week or two until radiation levels drop. No, I was working on that thing. Now it's just a humble little root cellar. But no, I was doing all the things. And then there's that election. There's the irritable bowel where I'm like, are we really going to elect a side hoe? as president of the United States. Is this really going to happen? And then it didn't. It was almost like the country had regained its sanity. And with that, I regained my sanity. I was no longer worried about the woke bullshit. If I was going to be forced to wear a mask to go buy God knows what at some store. Even the Pokemon people are out now scalping stuff from the local Walmarts, just like they were doing in 2020. But it's almost like everything just realized, hey, we can be back to normal again. Still trying to get those egg prices back down, but hey, when you're prepared for the apocalypse, we already have chickens. So joke's on you. There were some benefits to the last 4 years. For one, I could probably go without buying groceries for the next 2 years and not lose any weight, not starve, still be healthy. Got enough firewood to last me an entire winter if the power goes out, if I was just to stay in the cabin. No, things are pretty secure. Stress is down. I'm working on my health more, working on my mental cognition, abilities, thinking. Now, there really is no proven way to increase IQ. Not that I have a baseline to actually measure that from. Never taken an IQ test. But no, I am back to taking care of myself, improving other things around here besides security, food security, security, energy security, water security. No, we are finally back to normal. And I hope that with that some societal sanity comes back as well, because that has been lacking for quite a while now. I'm waiting for somebody to finally just go on The View, and when they start talking about it's racist to have white babies, true comment, recently said on this horribly stupid TV show, I'm waiting for somebody to just be like, have you ever considered that you're the racist and a dumbass? And why the fuck does anybody watch your show anyways? Why have you not been canceled? And canceled. Why have you been canceled and canceled? There's absolutely no reason to have your dumbass talking on TV. Don't be polite to these people. They got what they have coming to them. And perhaps that's you. No, you're in the supermarket and somebody sees you over by the steaks. They're like, oh my God, you really don't care about the life of these animals? I do. That's why I'm going to enjoy eating them. You might want to give it a try. What are you going to do? Let it just rot? No, finally. Breath of fresh air. Can relax. Not worry about horribly stupid things. The flags are still out. Still see the flags. You know what that means. You don't go in there and give them business. No. How did I start enjoying my life again and stop worrying about the end of the world? Number one, stop listening to the news. Number two, focus on yourself instead of what's going on around you. That's a biggie. Number three, when things around you start affecting your life, well, nip that shit in the bud. And that can be various different things. Getting a new job, moving, telling somebody to shut the up. Because let's face it, some people will say that's rude. You shouldn't tell somebody to shut up. How can you treat anybody like that? Well, maybe if they had something worth listening to, I wouldn't be telling them to shut the up. And let's face it, most people in our society do not have anything worth listening to. The View, for example. So yeah, stop listening to stupid people like the news. Because their opinion really does not matter worth a shit. Stop electing morons. That'll help your mental health. And if you are in an area that keeps electing morons and re-electing morons, you're surrounded by morons. You should probably move. So yeah, let the dummies have their own space. Find something like here, where you don't hear the bass of hip hop coming from cars. There's no gunshots. Nobody's yelling and screaming. The only marching going on is either a herd of deer or a herd of turkeys. And if they're in season, you can actually shoot them if they piss you off. It's not like these people blocking the roads, trying to save the planet and shit. So yeah, this is how I reclaimed my sanity after 4 years of absolute total chaos with morons in charge. Give it a try, if you can.